When you grow old, 7 signs someone is extremely jealous of you. As we grow older, life often feels like a patchwork quilt, each piece representing milestones, relationships, and lessons. By the time you reach 65 or beyond, you've gathered a lifetime of experiences, wisdom, and accomplishments. For many seniors, this is a season of reflection, gratitude, and sharing your light with others. But even in this stage of life, there can be people whose jealousy casts a shadow over your peace. Jealousy isn't limited to youth or middle age, it lingers in human nature, sometimes becoming even more pronounced later in life. It can appear in unexpected places: a close friend, a sibling, a neighbor, or even a member of your church or community group. Recognizing jealousy and handling it with grace is vital to protecting your emotional well-being. Here are 7 signs someone may be jealous of you and how to deal with it wisely. 1. They downplay your achievements. As you journey through the golden years of life, there's a special kind of pride that comes from looking back at all you've accomplished. Whether it's the career you built, the family you nurtured, the friendships you cherished, or the countless small victories that shaped your story, these milestones hold deep meaning. Yet, there will always be people who can't seem to honor those achievements. Instead of celebrating with you, they find ways to belittle or downplay them, making you feel as though your efforts and triumphs were nothing extraordinary. Imagine sharing a moment of pride about a meaningful accomplishment, perhaps a story of how you helped your grandchildren navigate a tough time, or a memory of a project you spearheaded decades ago that left a lasting legacy. For most people, such moments would inspire applause or admiration. But for someone consumed by jealousy, the response is often far from celebratory. They might say, "Oh, anyone could have done that," or "it's not as big of a deal as you're making it out to be." Their words cut deep, not because you doubt the value of what you've done, but because it's hard to understand why someone you care about would diminish your hard work and heart. The pain lies in the subtlety of their dismissal. It's not always outright criticism. Sometimes it's a tone, a shrug, or a simple change of subject that leaves you feeling unseen. They might shift the conversation to their own experiences, as if to remind you that whatever you've done pales in comparison to their story. Their inability to validate your accomplishments is a reflection of their own struggles. Deep down, they are grappling with feelings of inadequacy, unable to reconcile your successes with the perceived gaps in their own lives. In moments like these, it's important to remind yourself of one crucial truth: your worth is not dependent on someone else's recognition. You didn't live your life to impress others. You lived it with intention, resilience, and love. The value of your achievements isn't diminished by their inability to acknowledge them. It's reinforced by the lives you've touched, the lessons you've learned, and the legacy you've built. When someone downplays your achievements, see it for what it truly is: a reflection of their own insecurities, not a commentary on your life. Their words or actions reveal more about the gaps they feel in their own journey than about any shortcomings in yours. They are projecting their struggles outward, trying to make sense of their emotions in a way that shields them from self-reflection. But here's where your wisdom comes into play. At this stage in life, you've gained the perspective to know that not everyone will understand or celebrate your journey, and that's okay. You don't need every voice in the room to cheer for you, because the applause that truly matters comes from within. Take a moment to honor yourself for everything you've achieved, no matter how big or small. Reflect on the challenges you've overcome, the people you've supported, and the love you've shared. When someone tries to belittle your accomplishments, respond with grace. You might say, "I'm proud of what I've done, and it's meant a lot to me." Simple words, yet they carry profound power. They remind both you and them that your life's meaning doesn't hinge on their approval. By standing firm in your pride and refusing to let their jealousy affect your self-worth, you set a boundary that protects your peace and affirms your value. And most importantly, keep sharing your stories. For every person who can't celebrate with you, there are countless others who will find inspiration in your journey. By living authentically and unapologetically, you create a ripple effect of encouragement, proving that it's never too late to honor your path and keep striving for joy. Your achievements, whether grand or modest, are the threads that weave the fabric of your life. They're a testament to your resilience, your courage, and your unwavering spirit. No one, no dismissive comment, no envious glance, can ever take that away from you. So stand tall, speak your truth, and let your light shine. Your story matters, and it deserves to be celebrated. 2. They can't celebrate your joy. One of the greatest gifts of growing older is the ability to find joy in life's simplest moments. Whether it's the pride of watching your children or grandchildren thrive, the excitement of trying something new, or the peaceful contentment of a quiet afternoon spent with a cherished friend, these moments of joy become the heart of your days. But not everyone around you will share in your happiness. Sometimes, even those closest to you find it difficult to celebrate your joy. And their inability to do so often speaks more about their struggles than about you. Picture this. You've just shared a piece of wonderful news. Perhaps it's a family reunion you're looking forward to, a health milestone you've reached, or a new passion you've discovered in your retirement years. For most people, such news would be met with smiles, congratulations, or even a warm embrace. But instead, you're met with silence or a distracted response. Maybe they quickly change the subject or offer a lukewarm comment like, "That's nice," without looking up. The enthusiasm you expected is absent, leaving you wondering if you've done something wrong. This kind of reaction can feel like a subtle betrayal. After all, joy is something meant to be shared, especially with those who know us well. But when someone can't bring themselves to celebrate with you, it's often a reflection of their own inner battles. Perhaps your happiness serves as a mirror, reflecting their perceived shortcomings or unfulfilled dreams. Instead of finding inspiration in your joy, they may feel reminded of what they lack, whether it's family, purpose, or contentment. It's not easy to navigate these situations, especially when they involve people you care deeply about. You might find yourself questioning your own happiness, wondering if you've been insensitive or overbearing in sharing it. But here's an important truth: your joy is not a threat to anyone else. It is a light meant to be shared, not hidden. If someone feels uneasy in the glow of your happiness, that unease is theirs to resolve, not yours to bear. Rather than internalize their reaction, remind yourself of the importance of honoring your own feelings. Your happiness is hard-earned, built on decades of effort, resilience, and growth. Whether it's a small victory or a moment of peace, you have every right to cherish it without apology. 3. They constantly criticize your choices. As we journey through life, we gather experiences, make decisions, and carve out our unique paths. Some choices may have led to success, while others might have been lessons in disguise. But every step you've taken was yours to make, guided by your instincts, values, and circumstances. However, there are those who seem to take pleasure in dissecting your decisions, pointing out what they perceive as flaws or mistakes. Their criticism might be subtle, a raised eyebrow, a dismissive comment, or it could be overt, like telling you outright that you should have done things differently. It's exhausting and disheartening to face such scrutiny, especially when it comes from people you hoped would support you. Instead of offering empathy or understanding, they focus on finding fault, making you feel as though your life choices weren't good enough. Why do they behave this way? Often, chronic criticism stems from their own dissatisfaction. By fixating on your perceived errors, they divert attention from their own regrets or insecurities. In their eyes, criticizing your choices is easier than confronting their own doubts or unresolved feelings. The real challenge is not letting their negativity seep into your heart. Their judgment does not define you or diminish the value of your life. You've made choices based on what you believed was best at the time, and those decisions have shaped the person you are today, wise, resilient, and rich with experience. When faced with such criticism, it's essential to set boundaries. You can respond with grace but firmness, saying something like, "I've made peace with my choices, and I'm proud of the life I've built." This simple statement reclaims your narrative and reminds them that you are not seeking validation. Critics will always exist, but your peace and confidence can serve as a shield. Remember, their opinions are just that, opinions. They hold no power over the immense value of your experiences and the wisdom you've gained along the way. 4. They try to control your time and decisions. Another sign of toxic behavior is when someone attempts to control how you spend your time or make decisions. At this stage in life, you've earned the right to prioritize what brings you joy and fulfillment. Yet, some people seem to think they know better, imposing their expectations on you and disregarding your autonomy. It could be a family member insisting that you babysit their children, despite your plans to travel or relax. Or perhaps a friend pressures you to join activities that don't align with your interests, making you feel guilty if you decline. In extreme cases, they may even make financial or medical decisions on your behalf, dismissing your input as unimportant or uninformed. This type of behavior is not about care or concern, it's about control. They struggle with the idea of you prioritizing yourself and your happiness because it challenges their perception of their role in your life. If left unchecked, this dynamic can drain your energy and rob you of the freedom you've worked so hard to achieve. The key to breaking free is asserting your boundaries. Politely but firmly say, "I appreciate your concern, but I've made my decision, and it works best for me." You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. By reclaiming control over your time and decisions, you send a clear message: your life is yours to live, and you won't let anyone dictate its direction. 5. They compete with you unnecessarily. Life is not a competition, especially in your later years when the focus naturally shifts to peace, fulfillment, and meaningful connections. Yet, some people still feel the need to compete, turning every interaction into a subtle battle. Whether it's comparing financial achievements, health milestones, or family dynamics, they seem intent on proving they're better, stronger, or more accomplished than you. Perhaps you share a story about your new hobby or a recent trip, only to be met with, "Oh, I've done that too, but mine was even better." Or maybe you mention your grandchildren's achievements, and they immediately counter with a list of their own family's accolades. This constant one-upmanship can be draining, leaving you feeling like your experiences aren't enough. The root of this behavior often lies in their own insecurities. They may feel threatened by your contentment or achievements and attempt to level the playing field by inflating their own. While it's natural to want to share personal successes, there's a difference between celebrating together and overshadowing others. When faced with unnecessary competition, remind yourself that you don't need to prove anything. you've already won in ways that truly matter, by living authentically and creating a life rich with meaning. Respond to their competitive remarks with kindness, saying something like, "I'm happy for you, and I'm also proud of what I've experienced." This disarms the competition, leaving no room for further comparison. By focusing on your journey rather than engaging in theirs, you maintain your peace and self-assurance. 6. They gossip about you. Few things are as hurtful as discovering that someone you trust has been speaking negatively about you behind your back. Gossip is a destructive force that erodes trust and tarnishes relationships. Whether it's a casual remark taken out of context or a deliberate attempt to spread falsehoods, knowing that someone is gossiping about you can feel like a betrayal. At this stage of life, you've likely cultivated a circle of trusted friends and confidants. That's why gossip stings so deeply. It often comes from those you've let into your inner world. The content of the gossip might range from trivial misunderstandings to exaggerated versions of your decisions or lifestyle. Why do they do it? Jealousy and insecurity often fuel gossip. By pointing out perceived flaws in your life, they may be attempting to deflect attention from their own struggles. Unfortunately, their actions say more about them than they do about you. Rather than confronting gossip with anger, approach the situation with wisdom. If you feel it's necessary, address the person directly in a calm and measured way, saying, "I've heard some things that concern me, and I'd like to clear the air." Sometimes, open communication can resolve misunderstandings and restore trust. If the gossip persists, it may be time to reevaluate the relationship. Surround yourself with people who uplift and respect you, those who celebrate your presence rather than undermine it. 7. They dismiss your feelings. One of the most insidious forms of jealousy is the tendency to dismiss or invalidate your emotions. This might manifest as brushing off your concerns, minimizing your happiness, or trivializing your struggles. You may hear phrases like, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal," or "you're overreacting." When someone dismisses your feelings, they deny the validity of your experiences. It can leave you feeling unseen, unheard, and undervalued. This behavior often stems from their own discomfort with vulnerability or their inability to empathize. It's essential to remember that your feelings are valid, no matter how others perceive them. Whether you're celebrating a milestone, grieving a loss, or simply expressing frustration, your emotions are a reflection of your lived experience and deserve respect. When someone dismisses your feelings, stand firm in your truth. You might respond by saying, "I feel this way, and it's important to me." This simple statement affirms your emotions without inviting debate. At the same time, focus on building relationships with those who honor and respect your feelings. The people who truly care for you will listen without judgment, offering support instead of dismissal. In recognizing these signs of jealousy, you empower yourself to protect your peace and maintain healthy relationships. Life after 65 should be a time of joy, reflection, and connection, free from the shadows of envy. By responding to jealousy with grace and wisdom, you not only preserve your well-being but also inspire others to rise above their insecurities. The sting isn't just in the words themselves, but in the betrayal of trust. You may ask yourself, why would they do this? What have I done to deserve it? But here's the truth, their words are not about you, they are about their own struggles, their own feelings of inadequacy, and their own insecurities. When they see you thriving, celebrating life, or simply enjoying the fruits of your labor, it reminds them of what they feel they are missing. Instead of looking inward to heal these feelings, they project them outward. When you become aware of this behavior, it's natural to feel anger, sadness, or even a desire to confront them. But before you act, take a moment to remind yourself of who you are and the life you've lived. No amount of gossip can erase the impact of your actions, the relationships you've nurtured, or the character you've built over decades. Your worth isn't diminished by someone else's envy. If you decide to address the situation, do so with grace and clarity. A calm conversation such as "I've heard some things that surprised me, and I'd like to talk about them with you directly" can open the door to understanding while reaffirming your commitment to honesty and respect. However, if the gossip persists or the relationship feels irreparably tainted, it's okay to step back. Your peace and emotional well-being are far more valuable than trying to mend a relationship rooted in negativity. Remember, the power of gossip fades in the light of truth. Continue living authentically with kindness and confidence. Surround yourself with those who uplift you and value your presence. The strength of your character will always outshine the shadows of their words. 4. They try to compete with you. At this stage in life, when you've long since moved beyond the need to prove yourself, the idea of competition often feels irrelevant. You've learned the value of contentment, the joy of celebrating others, and the peace that comes from walking your own path. But not everyone reaches this understanding, and you may find that some people still feel the need to compete with you, driven not by ambition but by jealousy. This kind of competition often surfaces in small, seemingly inconsequential ways. If you share that you've taken up painting, they might suddenly proclaim themselves as budding artists, emphasizing how much better their work is. If you mention a trip to visit family, they might counter with details of their own travels, making it clear that theirs was more luxurious or exciting. Every achievement you share seems to trigger a matching or superior response, as though your joy somehow threatens their sense of worth. What's striking is that these individuals don't realize you aren't playing the same game. You're not striving to outdo them or prove anything, you're simply living your life. But in their eyes, your success or happiness becomes a benchmark, a reminder of where they feel they've fallen short. Instead of finding inspiration in your journey, they see it as a challenge to their own narrative. This constant competition can be draining, especially when it comes from someone you care about. You might feel hesitant to share your joys, worried that it will spark another round of comparisons. But withholding your light doesn't serve anyone, it only dims the joy you've worked so hard to cultivate. The key to navigating this dynamic is to hold on to your sense of self. You've earned the peace and pride that come with living authentically. If someone tries to compete with you, let them. Their need to measure themselves against you is their burden, not yours. Respond with kindness and grace, but don't let their behavior dictate how you live or share your life. If their competition feels relentless, gently set boundaries. Focus your energy on relationships that are rooted in mutual respect and support. There are people in your life who celebrate your wins without feeling the need to one-up you. These are the relationships to nurture. Life isn't a race, and there's no prize for outshining others. The real victory lies in finding fulfillment, peace, and connection. By refusing to engage in unnecessary competition, you free yourself to continue growing, thriving, and savoring the moments that make life meaningful. Your journey is uniquely yours, and no one else's rivalry can take that away. 5. They make everything about themselves. In the golden years of life, there is a quiet joy in sharing your story, the highlights of a well-lived life, the lessons learned, the moments that made you laugh and cry. But sometimes, when you open up, you might find that someone in your circle has a way of turning every conversation back to themselves. Whether you're sharing a heartfelt moment, a personal success, or even a struggle, they somehow find a way to shift the focus to their own experiences. It starts subtly. You might be talking about a cherished memory, like attending your granddaughter's recital or a recent trip you've taken to visit a dear friend. Instead of listening and celebrating your moment, they interrupt with something like, "Oh, my grandson is doing the same thing, but let me tell you about his awards," or "I took a trip like that last year, but ours was even more special because..." Before you know it, the conversation has veered away from you and into their world. This behavior often stems from insecurity. A jealous person struggles to let others shine because it reminds them of their own perceived shortcomings. Your success or joy might make them feel invisible or inadequate, so they overcompensate by redirecting attention to themselves. Unfortunately, this pattern leaves you feeling unheard and unappreciated, as though your stories and achievements are less important.